Hey there, let's talk about something very important. And I want to be very clear. If you're wholesaling, your buyer's job is to get that deal, your deal, as low as possible. Your job, right, is to protect the value, right? Hold the line on the number that you established as the right number for a cash buyer. So that means that every conversation with the buyer, it's going to be a negotiation. And on some days, it's going to feel like an absolute fist fight. Not literally, of course, but if you walk into that conversation sounding uncertain, your buyer, I'm telling you, they are going to feel it through the phone and they're going to start pushing back because you're wavering. So when I'm talking to our clients and our students, this is the one thing that I tell them I never want to hear from you. I don't want to hear stuff like, hey, so like, what were you thinking on the price? Or, yeah, what's your best offer? Or another bad one. Well, our asking price is. Oh my God, that's the absolute worst. Or what would you be willing to pay? Because all of these things, you're literally opening up the door for your buyer to offer you less than what you're telling them this property is worth. You're just inviting a lowball offer. And it's just giving away your position. So it tells your buyer that you are not confident in the number that you're wanting, right? And you're just waiting for them to determine what they think they should pay for your deal. And I promise you, it's never going to be as much as you want. So you should be leading that conversation. So here's what I want to tell you. Start by establishing who you are, right? And what your company does and the kind of opportunities that you bring to the market. So I would say something like, hey, my name is David Olds with Easy REI Closings. We specialize in bringing deeply discounted off-market properties to serious cash investors just like you. So what am I saying there, right? Obviously, I'm telling them who I am, what my company's name is. I don't try to be a secret. We're in the trust generation. People do business with people they know, like, and trust. And nobody's going to wire $300,000 to a title company if they don't trust you, right? Second, I'm telling you, I specialize in bringing in deeply discounted off-market properties, right? I'm telling you exactly what this is. These aren't listed properties. They're deeply discounted, right? I'm already saying that we have accounted for the repairs. And the last thing is to serious cash investors, just like you. Why? Because everybody wants to be considered a serious cash investor, especially if they're new. So we're trying to bump up their ego just a little bit and tell them that, hey, we picked you out of the crowd because I know you're a serious cash investor. And that immediately changes the frame of the conversation. Now, you're not coming off as some nervous newbie wholesaler just begging at them to look at your deal. You're a professional with access to discounted inventory that can make them money. And that's what they need. Listen, we always talk about sellers having pain points, right? Or problems. Well, buyers have problems and pain points too, right? When I was heavily rehabbing, I had 5 or 6 private lenders who every time I cashed out a property, they're like, where's the next one? What's the next one I can lend on? So I needed to keep that money moving. Also, when I had 2 crews, I had to keep them moving as well because you know what would happen? If I didn't have a job for them to go to, they would go work for somebody else and then I would never get them back, right? So it's very important when you're talking to your buyers, hey, how many deals are you looking to do this year? Tell me what's going on. Are you using your own crews? Are you having somebody else do it? I'm trying to gather as much information as I can so that I can use that when I get into the negotiations, right? And when you present all of this correctly and confidently, right? Hey, this property, it's available right now at $185,000 and based off, recent comparable cash sales and the repairs that we've identified, there's plenty of room in this deal for the right investor. Notice what I didn't say. I didn't say my asking price is. What do you think? What can you afford? None of that stuff. This property is available at that price. Now, your number needs to be right? Like just blind confidence doesn't mean that you can just present a terrible deal out there and expect people to pay it. You need to understand the market. You need to know what comparable cash sales are because that's who we're selling to here is a cash buyer. You need to be able to accurately estimate the repairs and you want to make sure you're leaving enough room for your buyer to make money. Remember, by their very name, these people are investors. I don't care how much they like you or how cute you are. They are not going to pay for a property where they cannot make money. So you always have to keep that in mind. But once you've done all that work, stop apologizing for the price. Own it. This becomes especially important just before the walkthrough. So before your buyer ever steps foot into that property, confirm their position. So you could say something like, hey, So based on the pictures, the property details, repair information, all the sales, comparable sales that we've provided, I just want to make sure before I get you into this property and disturb the tenant that you are comfortable moving forward at 185,000 as long as everything at the property is consistent with what we've represented and what's in the pictures, correct? And then I'm going to shut up and wait for a yes, right? Because first off, I want to know that they can afford it. I don't want to spend all the time to call the seller, get a hold of the tenant, make the arrangements, get them over there, and then they come back on my 185,000 property and like, yeah, I can do 125. Like, we've wasted our time, right? If the numbers don't make sense to them based on everything that they're seeing online, then why would I want to schedule a showing for them, right? So the purpose of the walkthrough is very, very clear, right? They are confirming the information that we have already provided. They're not just touring the property so that they can invent a reason to beat you up for another $10,000 afterwards. Now, will some buyers try it? Yeah, of course. Absolutely. 100%. Remember, that's their job. But your job is to lead the conversation with enough confidence that they understand that you know what you have and you know what it's worth. So if you sound unsure, they will negotiate against your fear and your insecurity. But if you know your numbers and you communicate them confidently, right, they have to negotiate against the facts. And that is a much stronger position that will help you win more often. So listen, if you aren't that confident that your number is right, don't fake it. Get help before you present it to your buyers. We offer 5 live underwriting calls every single week inside our community for $97 a month. So you can bring us your leads, bring us your contracts, and we'll help you understand the numbers and position that deal correctly for the right kind of buyer. So if you're interested in that, click the link below, and we'd love to see you every day at 3 p.m. Eastern. My name is David Olds, and I will see you at the closing table.